That's when the voice came. The night he murdered his sister.
Michael heard a voice?
It told him to kill his family.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 6.
6-6.
Today's is
We're not happy.
I don't like this one at all. I'm not happy at all. Like I am
Oh,
very dejected right now.
I'm happy for the wrong reason.
Well, yeah, I mean this is gonna be a fun episode because I'm just gonna shit all over this fucking piece of shit ass movie. I mean,
Curse of Michael Myers, more like curse of this franchise.
yeah, there we go. Look at you doing a Johnism. I'm so proud of you, Justin. You've grown. Love to see it. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Not even Halloween 6. It's not in the title. It's just Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Well, they almost called it Halloween 666.
Almost called it Halloween 666, yes. And it's bad. I'm going to go ahead and... Justin, what'd you think of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers? Let's just start with you. Like, just give me your general thoughts.
Well,
Just go.
as I've stated before, I'm not opposed to liking bad horror movies, but when it comes to ones that are in my favorite franchise, it's like I get a little more angry about it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I still found some parts enjoyable. The kills, of course, because I'm a fucking monster.
The practical effects were really good. I'll give it that.
But overall, it was just bad. Bad. The story made no sense. Every actor was like terrible.
Oh my god.
It's like they just throw away everything that the other 5 movies built.
Oh, it's like simultaneously like it has like Michael's like simultaneously how I want him to be, but then also at the exact same time just awful.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my god.
This should have been like Halloween 3 Part 2.
Yeah, honestly, because it doesn't feel like it belongs. Just like Halloween 3 doesn't feel like it belongs. But at least I can enjoy like Halloween 3 as its own thing removed from the franchise. I can't do that with this.
No.
Like this is just fucking awful. Yeah, this movie's really bad. I know there's probably some people that really like this one, and God bless you. I'm real happy for you. It could not be me. It could absolutely not be me. This movie is just a lot of things that just don't work. You can tell that the production was troubled, which is something I'm going to talk about later on. Oh my god, this is it's just so bad. Oh my god, I can't even like it's so fucking bad I can't even like formulate my thoughts. I thought Halloween 5 was like, kind of shitty, but this is like extra shitty. This is how is this like so 90s and like so terrible at the same time? Scream comes out a year after this and it's like better in every fucking way. And this is like oh, it's so bad.
Because Halloween was already established, that's why it's so bad.
Oh yeah, it's not so. So I'm gonna get into the general backstory trivia shit that I talk about with this stuff.
Whoa.
This came out in 1995. It was directed by Joe Chappelle, written by Daniel Farrens. I want to say. I think his name is Daniel. I don't know. I got it written down somewhere. Let me take a peek here.
Squeak.
I think it was Daniel Farrens. Yeah, Daniel Farrens was the
Why'd
writer.
you fuck it up, Daniel?
Well, it's not all his fault.
I blame him.
Well, okay, we're going to get into that. So, this movie still, despite being an absolute garbage fire, still made 3 times its fucking budget. It had a $5 million budget and made $15.1 million. How does that fucking happen? Oh my god. This movie's so fucking bad. Unfortunately, it's also the last, like, I think it's like the last movie that Donald Pleasance was in.
Yeah, it said in memory of him at the end.
Which is real fucking depressing to know. That makes me really sad.
The curse killed him.
That this is the last thing he fucking made. Oh my god. And so like I said, this movie had like a lot of production issues and they mainly stemmed from the fact that after the original cut was made, they did a test screening, right? And everybody hated it. Everybody hated the test screening because the original idea was to like tie together like everything. This was going to be the final Halloween. This was going to tie together the first two movies with the Thorn bullshit, and it didn't work.
Because the first two had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, well, the first four, really, like, because 4 didn't have anything to do with it either. They just shoehorned it in 5 to create a sense of mystery. And fuck them for doing that, because then we got this. And so the test audiences fucking hated it. They thought it was garbage. And I mean, you know, it's fair. That's fair. And yeah, Donald Pleasance, like I mentioned, this was like the last film he made. And according to Daniel Farrens, he was a fan of the original script, the original shooting script before it got all these reshoots and shit. Because after that original test screening, they like the producers panicked and they were like, "Oh shit, we gotta fucking like redo this. We're gonna add more gore. We're gonna rework the story. We're gonna do all this stuff." And it's radically different from the original script, which Donald Pleasance apparently liked. Donald Pleasance was not present for those reshoots because he died 8 months before the movie came out, and like I guess a few months before they reshot his scenes.
He knew what was coming.
I mean, honestly, I'm glad he wasn't in the reshoots because it would have been a nightmare. So that original version was like so an original work print of that original version was found, and it was really popular on eBay, sold as like a bunch of bootleg DVDs and shit, and then it was released officially in 2014 by Shout Factory. With Scream Factory just being their subsidiary, whatever, and everybody liked it a little bit more because it's still not great. They're still both really bad. I have to stress that. But even before Daniel Farrens and Joe Chappelle were signed on to direct, here's something that I read about that I don't know how true it is, but Scott Spiegel, one of the writers of Evil Dead, he was originally tapped on to direct by the production company, and he was going to work on a script written by Quentin Tarantino. He was going to work on a script written by Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah,
which is fucking insane to hear. And Quentin Tarantino's original idea for this fucking movie was it was gonna involve Michael and the Man in Black going on a murderous road trip down Route fucking 66. And that sounds awful, but honestly, I kind of want to see how that would work. But at the same time, Natural Born Killers exists, which I'm pretty sure is what became of that idea.
yeah.
And according to the producers, Tarantino was never officially hired. It was just an idea because he was pitching Natural Born Killers at the time. And that's what got made instead of his version of Halloween 6, which I mean,
The better movie was made.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
And John Carpenter, I love this piece. John Carpenter was also like asked to return at one point by Mustafa Akkad, and he suggested, most likely facetiously, he said, "Hey, why don't we set it on a space station?" And Mustafa Akkad was like, "No." And so they passed on that. And I think that's why you have that bit in the movie where that dude, that like conspiracy theory guy, is calling into the radio station and he's like, "Oh, the CIA fucking kidnapped Michael and shot him off into space." And then he's like, "You're fucking crazy, dude. Go away." And then and then Jason X exists, so But
Great movie.
But that's a better movie than this. Oh my god, it's fucking hell. And then man, I'm just like, I forgot that I wrote some of this down. Like, this is like batshit. Other concepts that were being explored in pre-production were Michael being revealed to be Sam Loomis's son. Which would have been
the stupidest
so
fucking
bad.
thing ever.
That would have been so fucking terrible. Oh my god, that would have been so fucking bad. I can't believe that was even like
An idea.
an idea. And also, this one's a little more strange. Is that it was going to be revealed that Michael's mother was being kept as a sex slave by the Man in Black. So Michael Wynn, or Michael, was Michael Wynn? I don't fucking know what his first name is. Dr. Wynn would have been, he would have just had Michael's mom as a sex slave for some reason, probably to pump out more little evil Michaels, maybe. I don't know. It's stupid.
Just, by that time, she would have been ancient.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, so one thing that you'll notice in this movie, if you've seen it, by
bad.
the way, full spoilers. I keep forgetting to say that before these things, but just assume from here on out that if we're talking about a movie on gore goblins,
You're gonna get spoiled.
it's been spoiled to shit. It's gonna get spoiled to shit. Yeah. But you'll notice in this movie that Jamie Lloyd isn't played by Danielle Harris.
Because she's still a child.
No, she was 17 at the time, actually. By the time she was gonna be, by the time this movie was getting made, she was 17, and like she went through all this trouble to like emancipate herself from her parents, so that way she could be a part of the production and everything. Like she was all set to go, and so what ended up happening is the studio basically told her, well, you only have like a bit part, so we're not going to pay you the $5,000 you're asking. We're just going to pay you $1,000. And Jamie and Danielle Harris was like, but I was in the last two movies. Like, why? Like, I'm recognizable. People are going to go see the movie because I'm in it.
That would have been better.
Honestly, yeah. But they basically say she wasn't an important character. And according to Danielle herself, she said, people automatically assume, this is a quote, I wanted some crazy amount of money or something, but it's not like I was demanding of anything, really. When you've been asked to do something and then they insult you by saying, you're a piece of shit, you die in the first act, I don't give a fuck that you were in the other two Halloween movies, who cares? I was in shock. And I mean, that's basically what they did. Producers are scummy, especially when they're the Weinsteins who produced this fucking movie. So, producers are scummy in general. And, there's tons of stories of actors getting fucked out of their money. And Danielle Harris is unfortunately one of those. Because, like, the money that they were offering her wasn't even going to be enough to cover the legal fees of getting emancipated.
Yeah.
All this trouble she went through. They were just like, nah, we're going to go with somebody else. And I don't remember the name of the actress that replaced her. I can look it up super quick, though. Because here at Gore Goblins, we're only half prepared. Because I forget sometimes.
Half prepared, half awake.
Definitely half awake. Yep. J.C. Brandy is Jamie Lloyd.
J.C. Brandy.
That's who replaced her. And George P. Wilbur came back as Michael from Halloween 4. And
literally strutting his stuff.
Well, I think that might have been. Well, no, I don't think that was a reshoot. But he was. But I'll talk about that later. But George P. Wilbur came back as Michael, but he was replaced in reshoots after they decided to rework everything because he was too bulky, according to the Weinsteins, and he was replaced by A. Michael Lerner. And that's why Michael looks so thin and tall in the second half of the movie, in the last third of the movie, is because it's not George P. Wilbur anymore. But George P. Wilbur does play a that last nurse that gets his head pushed through the iron gate in like a little cameo, which is kind of, I don't know, that kind of sucks that he's not Michael.
Yeah.
He still has a cool death, I guess. And the interesting thing about the subtitle of the movie, too, it's The Curse of Michael Myers, right? So, Mustafa Akkad asked Daniel Farrens, like, hey, what do you think the title should be? I'm having trouble coming up with one. And he jokingly said, The Curse of Michael Myers, because, it was troubled production and everything.
Bad.
But Akkad was like, hey, that works. So he made it the subtitle of the film. I mean, I guess it's a cool subtitle, maybe. But what's also funny is that the Pink Panther films also have sequels that use Return, Revenge, and Curse in the title of the movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of silly, but kind of funny at the same time. Radically different movies. But
all these movies use the same underlying
it's a funny
thing.
coincidence, though, to me. But yeah, they do. A lot of movies use Return. A lot of movies use Revenge, too. You don't see Curse very often. But... at least none off the top of my head that I can think of. But I do see Return a lot. Definitely see Return a lot. Even in even Leprechaun has a Returns. I'm pretty sure. I think. I want to say it does. I might be talking out of my ass like I usually am.
That's like with this stupid thing I read about the Resident Evil movies when they made the second one. It was going to be called Resident Evil Nemesis, but Star Trek Nemesis came out before that and it did terrible. So they didn't want to name it Nemesis.
So they named it. So they named it Apocalypse, right? Was that the second one?
I think so.
I think I don't remember, man. There's like 8 of them. I don't. Oh God, we're gonna have to cover those, and I don't really want to, but we're gonna have to. Anyway, Justin's looking it up. He's fact checking.
I gotta know.
He's fact checking. It's gonna bother him if he doesn't look it up. But then also, Tommy Doyle in this movie returns, and he's played by Paul Stephen Rudd. And that's not who the producers initially wanted. The producers initially wanted the original actor, Brian Andrews. But he didn't have an agent, so they couldn't get a hold of him. So he just missed out on it. And he was interviewed about it later, and he said that he wishes that they were able to find him because he would have taken the role. But Paul Rudd's bad in it, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, he bothered me the entire movie.
It's like,
like I get he's supposed to be like mentally traumatized from his run in with Michael in the original one because he's playing Tommy Doyle.
Yeah.
But he just comes off as this weird, creepy like stalker dude.
He's definitely a stalker. Yes, he is 100% a stalker in this.
He has like awkward close-ups and shit.
Oh,
It's just.
It's
like he almost tries to smell Kara's hair at one point too.
Yeah, it's a very strange turn for Tommy Doyle. But another thing, this is the only Halloween film to be shot in the fall. Isn't that weird? That's bizarre to me. For some reason, you'd think they would all be shot in the fall, but most of them are shot in the summer, from what I've read. And then also. During reshoots, a lot of Donald Pleasance's scenes were cut because the producers and the director found him to be, and I quote, boring. How the fuck is Donald Pleasance boring? He fucking put the last 2 movies on his fucking back and carried them, all right? And you're going to say he's boring? Oh, it's just, I'm getting upset.
He was playing his character the way it was meant to be played. Like, what else do you want from him?
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that there's a producer's cut of the movie. Now, Justin has the whole series on Blu-ray, but he doesn't have that, like, super special limited edition that has, like, all the different cuts and shit with it. And that's where the producer's cut initially came, and then it was released by itself later on. So we just had the theatrical cut of Halloween 6, which is what we watched. But I took the liberty of looking up differences. Special thanks to Dead Meat, because I used their cut comparison video to write down some of the differences so I could talk about them. So the producer's cut is still bad, but it doesn't. It makes a little bit more sense.
Does it flow better?
I don't want to say it flows better, but you could definitely see that, like, that a lot of their ideas were just so fucking, like, I guess, brutalized in the theatrical cut. Because there are some pretty big differences, like substantial differences. Like, it's not just like a typical, like, director's cut where it's like, oh, there's like 10 minutes of extra footage. There's like 45 minutes of extra and alternate footage, a different ending, like a bunch of different shit. So the main thing is, one of the main things is the color grading is completely different. So a lot of movies, and that's probably because it was a work print. It's based off of a work print. So, like, I remember Alien 3, when the assembly cut came out on the DVD version, it was, like, real shoddy because it was assembled footage that hadn't been, like, restored or anything like that. Once the Blu-ray came out, they cleaned it up. But when you usually have work prints like this, they're not color graded. The sound could be shitty. There's a bunch of stuff that kind of goes into it.
Both
So-
those movies were shitty.
Yeah, so so that's why I'm thinking that the color grading is different. Also, but one of the main things is that the theatrical cut has like these really like 90s fucking like transitions of like these like quick flashes of like a knife and Michael's mask and then just like a scream.
And Jamie dying over and over again.
And yeah, and that too. Which is a big slap in the face
I
to
don't
anybody
get
that
why
liked her
it kept
character.
flashing that. Like, what is the point?
At the weirdest moments too. Like there's one part where she's like, "Oh, all the baby needs is a mother's touch," and then you get a fucking like flash cut that doesn't make any. It's like, why? What are you doing? What is the point of this? Oh my god! And in the original, there's none of that, or in the producer's cut, there's none of that. It's just a fucking regular transitions in a movie. It's
Like-
none of that stupid flash cut shit. Oh, another big thing is the producer's cut also actually has 6 in the title, and the A in Halloween is the thorn symbol because they were really banking on that. That's probably why nobody fucking liked this movie when they initially showed the test screening because the thorn shit was stupid.
Yeah.
And so it was Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. But Justin mentioned earlier that it was originally going to be called Halloween 666, The Curse of Michael Myers, or something to that effect.
Because they wanted to party with the devil.
And apparently, that's a good one. And apparently,
Bitch.
there's like old posters and stuff that still have that title. I didn't really go looking for them online though, because anybody can Photoshop now. So I'm probably not gonna find anything legit. And I also don't really care because this movie's awful. Also, the producer's cut has so both movies have an opening monologue from different characters. In the theatrical cut, it's Tommy giving a little monologue about Michael and why he's so fucking evil and shit, and talking about how he killed people and his family and all that. In the producer's cut, it's Donald Pleasance. And what's great about this is Donald Pleasance wrote the monologue himself because Donald Pleasance was a true fucking actor. And he wrote this monologue himself, and he delivers it with all the gravitas that you'd expect him to deliver a monologue like that. And I think the monologue's better. It's the same fucking monologue, pretty much, just wording's a little different. And also, I don't know, Loomis is a better actor, or Donald Pleasance is a better actor than Paul Rudd was at this point in his life.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference too. Also, the soundtrack is completely different between the two cuts. So in the theatrical cut, you have this weird, like, grungy fucking soundtrack that's really just a product of its time. It sounds like there's one part that sounds like it was from
fake Alice in Chains.
one song sounds like a fake Man in the Box version. The other one sounds like a Doom song, like from Doom 2016 specifically. And it's like, it's the original theme too, but it's like, it just sounds like it was produced by Mick Gordon instead of John Carpenter, which is kind of, I don't like the score in the theatrical version, but in the producer's cut, it's a lot of it is just the Halloween theme, like that. It plays like a lot throughout the producer's cut, and that's better than what
the
what's in this
theatrical
shit.
has.
Like, the best thing, one of my favorite things about the Halloween movies have always been the soundtrack, especially in the newer ones and then in the original. The soundtrack plays a huge role in making that movie what it is, those movies what they are. So when you make it this weird grunge shit, I don't like it. It's like weird grunge industrial stupid bull. I hate it. It's dumb.
Every
I
time
don't care.
Michael pops up, you get this weird guitar tone.
Yeah, it reminds me of Metalocalypse. Like it's
Every time, if you've seen Metalocalypse, every time they curse and it bleeps it out, that's the sound it makes when Michael pops up all the time.
Oh my god. Also, the thing with the producer's cut is it was more in the vein of like Halloween, of the first one, which is something that I kind of appreciate about it, is that it wasn't really gory. I mean, the kills were still brutal to an extent, but it wasn't like fucking gory. So, for instance, the most like significant comparisons are there's a truck driver that gets his head twisted off in the theatrical cut. In the producer's cut, Michael just snaps his neck, and then he falls. And like it's really jarring watching the theatrical cut because you could see like the edit where it's just obviously switching to a dummy that just gets his head twisted off. I don't know. It's a cool practical effect, but
it's like
it was unnecessary.
You notice when he pushed that dude's head into the gate?
Yeah.
And the body fell over, the prop head fell off.
Yeah, the prop head fell off. And and it was like all squished. It looked funny. And then the other significant one is John Strode gets electrocuted in both versions. In the original, he just kind of like gets electrocuted, kind of like what was his fucking name, Bucky. The legend himself.
The one we forgot.
He kind of, yeah, that's why he's a legend. He's such a legend that we didn't even have to mention him. He gets electrocuted in Halloween 4. John gets electrocuted in a similar way in Halloween 6.
Well, stabbed and electrocuted.
He gets stabbed and electrocuted. Yeah, that's right. In the theatrical cut, he's like foaming at the mouth and his skin's like boiling, and then his head just fucking explodes.
Boom.
And it's kind of cool. But in the producer's cut, he just kind of gets electrocuted and then he just dies. Which, I mean, it doesn't have to be excessive, but whatever. They wanted to up the gore because they were like, well, Friday the 13th is making a lot of money, so we just got to up the gore and do that.
That's all this movie seems like. They watched Friday the 13th and they're like, this is Michael now.
Yeah, even down to like the voices. Like I was telling you while we were watching it, the voice of the man in black trying to like goad Danny into killing people reminded me a lot of Jason's mother telling him to kill for her, but like it works in Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Because, he's trying to get revenge for his mom. But in this, it's just some stupid shoehorned in Johnny Cash wannabe that's like, oh, fucking kill Danny, do it. Dude, it's also like a kind of half-hearted reference to The Shining, where like Danny's hearing these voices and shit, but The Shining's a good movie. So
is it?
Yes, it is, Justin. You just don't like movies. Fuck you. Anyway, so listen, it sounds like we hate each other, but we really don't. We play Gears of War a lot. And that's honestly the
Who wants my gamer tag?
The shit we put up with in that game really has like strengthened our friendship, if anything. But back to the differences. So because the Weinsteins were sleazeballs, they didn't really like Kara's actress, which I need to fucking look up what her name was too.
Kara, you mean fake Lori?
Fake Lori to an extent. Yeah, they really tried to make her the new Lori. I mean, she is a Strode, but she's not a biological Strode because Lori's adopted her. I don't care. She was played by Marianne Hagan. And the Weinsteins didn't like her because they thought that she was too thin and that her chin was too pointy. Those are direct quotes. So they cut a lot of scenes with her. One of the scenes that they cut is a scene that I actually really liked, where when Danny sees the man in black in the closet, and then he's like, "Mom, the fucking voice man is here." I don't know why he would describe him like that, but
man.
The voice man is here. Zoinks! And his mom comes in and like does this little like. I think Danny asked her like, "Can you do the song that makes the bad people go away?" And then Kara's like, "Sure, Danny." And then she like does this cute little song to make him feel better. She's just being a good mom, and I have a soft spot for good moms because I have a good mom. So it's a shame that they cut that. Because the Weinsteins were just like, she's not pretty enough. Fuck it. I don't just fucking get rid of her. But I loved her hair. Her hair was real nice in this movie. I kept talking to Justin about that. It's like real wavy and long, and it looks good. But so they cut that. And one of the more significant differences in the producer's cut, Jamie doesn't get mulched like she does in the theatrical cut. She just kind of gets stabbed off screen. Well, like, you see her reaction. She gets stabbed, and then she goes to the hospital, which is why Loomis is in the hospital in the theatrical cut for no fucking reason, is because he was visiting Jamie. Because in the theatrical cut, Paul Rudd goes there after he finds the baby from the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
And then Loomis is just hanging out for, like, no fucking reason. In the producer's cut...
Yeah, I didn't catch that at first.
In the producer's cut, he's there because he's visiting Jamie. So, like, they're cutting, like, important plot threads, like, plot details, just because they want to put more gore and shit. It's so stupid.
Well, I mean, it could still work that he went to the hospital because they took Jamie's body.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
scene before that.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. That's a
And
good.
they were waiting for like autopsy shit. And when they said, "Oh, we found placenta in her, so she must have given birth like not 24 hours ago."
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But also in the producer's cut, there's extra scenes of Danny hearing the voice man, and there's like extra little details in that Strode like family breakfast or whatever the fuck, where where John's like, oh yeah, give her your fucking money or whatever. Like
You know,
in the producer's cut, you actually see her like try to pass $1 to Kara, and then John says that, but in the theatrical cut, he just gets mad for almost no reason.
the the entire time I was watching it, I was like, "Is this just like? Did Rob Zombie just remake this one?"
Yeah, honestly,
Because that's what it felt like.
yeah, dude. Because John was such an asshole. Like the only thing that was missing was John saying like "fucking cunt" every other word. Then it would have been just a fucking Rob Zombie character. But yeah, that's what it felt like, almost exactly. And well, the other thing is that Michael's or the wife wasn't as like I guess strung out as Sherry Moon Zombie is in the Hollow in that one. That movie. Not looking for like each week we get closer to it, and each week I dread it more.
The
But
first one's okay.
but to quote Thanos, dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. which
It is inevitable.
which is kind of like isn't that like the tagline of that movie too? Like, oh, it's evil has a destiny or some shit like that. So that's oh god, that movie's gonna be awful.
I don't think the first one had a tagline. The second one did. It was "Family is forever."
Oh, it's fucking. Anyway, there's like one scene in the movie where you get like one of those classic like behind the back shots of Michael creeping on somebody. I don't remember the context for it, but they cut out an additional scene of him creeping on Kara with the original Halloween theme and everything. They cut that from the producer's cut for some reason. To make it flow better, I don't fucking know. It's stupid.
It's like they went to all the trouble for like redoing the Halloween theme, and they didn't even use it.
Yeah, because they use it. I think they only use it like twice, right? Like the redo of it, anyway, right? Like they only use it like 2 or 3 times. I feel like because you don't hear the original one like at all. So
I really only remember hearing it at the end and at the fucking Blu-ray menu.
that's
Oh, you know what else pissed me off about this movie?
what else?
How we had that great intro in Halloween 5 and then we get nothing in this one.
Yeah, there's no opening sequence in this movie. It's just a weird naked baby being like I guess
Well, it's Jamie giving birth.
Oh, Jamie
first.
giving birth, yeah, and then the credits are playing on the side. And then a weird naked baby with a thorn symbol on its stomach.
Because the dude was painting it in blood.
Yeah, because the dude paints it in blood. Oh, this fucking stupid ass movie.
They never even really explained the thorn shit in the first place.
No.
They just mentioned the Sam Hain stuff again, and then they're like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the producer's cut leans more into the thorn stuff, which is again why I think people didn't like it. But it's better than this shit, honestly. Like if you're gonna fucking finish it,
you're just left more confused than you are after 5.
you might as well just finish what you started. And speaking of that, Jamie, like I said, she survives the barn. She's in the hospital and she has a weird flashback that's like in black and white, where it's heavily implied that Michael Myers rapes his niece and impregnates her with the daughter with the son that she gives birth to at the beginning of the movie. Heavily implied. Because she's like, Michael, please don't hurt me. Please stop, Michael. Don't do this. And it's really weird. And I don't like it. And then she gets shot in the head by the man in black. Like just because the man in black's like, oh, your time is done. And then just shoots her in the fucking head. Like it's really dumb. It's really dumb. Oh my god, this stupid fucking movie. Also, one of the more like cuts that I think kind of hurts the atmosphere of the movie is when they're at that like shock jock festival or whatever, that little girl's like being like, "Mommy, the rain is red. The rain is red." In the producer's cut, she's singing a little song about it, which is creepier because it reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a better movie than this. But she's like singing about red rain, and then she looks at Tommy and says, "It's warm." And that's a much better flow than her being like, "Mommy, there's rain," when her mom isn't even fucking present in the scene. First of all, second of all, it just flows better if she's singing about it because she's a dumb little kid. Kids sing all the fucking time. That's what they do. They're little babies.
Yeah, her singing would have been better because she's standing in front of like that weird scarecrow thing that's
Yeah.
like, kind of looks like an altar. So it kind of would have made more sense if they kept that, but no.
Oh, also, because she's singing about, or she was singing about the shock jocks, like blood or whatever falling on her, and the producer's cut too. So in the theatrical cut, the shock jock gets like, I guess, disemboweled because you don't see it, but you like hear him ripping. So Michael's ripping ready, this is after the shock jock's like looking for his van, and then he goes into just a blue van, and it fucks with me because in the theatrical cut you see the camera start to pan and then it cuts, because in the producer's cut it pans and then you see the Smiths Grove Institution logo on the side of the van, so you see that he went into the wrong one, and then as he's getting killed by Michael, there's an overhead shot that shows where his van actually was. Again, just cutting out shit for no reason that doesn't really like ground the characters as well. This fucking thing. There's also an extended conversation about the Thorn Rune between Tommy and Loomis in the producer's cut. Loomis's confrontation of Wynn is very different. In the theatrical cut, it's reshot and heavily edited. And Wynn is revealed to be the Man in Black, and he's just like in like a regular like old ass looking ugly suit. And then in the producer's cut, he's like wearing like a fucking Dracula cloak because he's still in his Man in Black outfit. And it's a longer confrontation because a lot of Loomis scenes got cut out because again the Weinsteins thought he was boring. Including a scene where Dr. Loomis explains what happened to his scars. So that scene where Wynn shows up at the beginning and he's talking to Loomis about how like, I couldn't even find your place. Loomis is like, yeah, and then Wynn's like, hey, what happened to your face though, bro? You were all,
Burned up,
scarred up. And he's like, oh, I did plastic surgery. Now people aren't as afraid when they see my face. And I'm like, that makes sense.
Instead of it just vanishing.
Instead of it just disappearing for no reason. You cut like a character thing for Loomis. Why'd you do that? It's a good line. Like that's a good Loomis line. Loomis would totally do that. Oh my god. So, and then the ending, the last third of the movie, after Kara gets knocked out, after, all that shit happens. The stupid ass fucking twist of Wynn being the Man in Black and Mrs. Blankenship like
Being
helping
part
out.
of it.
So in the producer's cut, they really lean into the Thorn stuff here. It's revealed that like most of the town knows about Michael and that they like actively help or participate in this stupid rune shit. And Michael's just kind of like standing off in the corner while they're all like doing this ritual thing in this room from the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And Tommy sneaks in, wearing that stupid gown that everybody else is wearing, and he finds out that Michael's curse of the thorn, which is what gives him immortality and what gives him the method behind his madness, as Tommy so expertly. See, I can't even fucking talk because I'm so mad. It's a line that Tommy so expertly delivers, is the curse of the thorn that gives him all that. And that's supposed to get passed on to Danny, and that's why you have all that like fucking like foreshadowing of the Man in Black being like, kill for me, Danny, kill for him, that kind of shit. But Tommy basically crashes that, and they escape into Smith's Grove, just like they kind of do in the theatrical cut. But instead of there being some like crazy ass fucking like disorienting ass slaughter scene in a surgery room, that doesn't happen. What happens is Michael chases them, and before Michael can get to Tommy, he puts down like you notice in the theatrical cut he's carrying like a pouch of like rocks, right? In the producer's cut, he uses those rocks that have runes on them to make like a barrier to trap Michael in. And then Michael steps into it and grabs Tommy by the throat, and Tommy wheezes out a Sam Hain, and Michael just stops. Like it just stops him. It just stops him. And then there's this
Oh, so
there's this somehow Palpatine has returned level line of Tommy just saying, "Oh, it was the power of the runes that stopped him, Dr. Loomis." And it's just really stupid. It's really fucking dumb.
so I was thinking about that the entire movie too. Is like, because I remember when I watched it on TV, there was a part where Tommy put on the robe.
Yeah. Yeah, so there are parts of the producer's cut that were in the television cut of the movie. That's the other thing that I read, is that before the producer's cut was bootlegged and officially released, elements of it were in the TV version.
Yeah, because I remember the ritual scene and all that, and they're like, didn't someone say, "Michael, go get him"?
Yeah.
That's what I thought
that
was
all
really
happens. Yeah,
fucking stupid.
that's very stupid because it turns Michael into a fucking lapdog, which is not what he is. He's not. Whoo, calm down. All right, we're good. We're all right. We're all right. So, after Tommy, Kara, and Danny get away, just like they do in this one, Loomis is like, "Hey, I gotta go take care of something." In the theatrical cut, all you see is like Michael's mask, and then you hear Loomis screaming. But in the producer's cut, you see Loomis go back into the sanitarium, and Michael's just like on the floor, and Loomis goes up to him with his gun in his hand, I think, and he like takes his mask off, and it's Dr. Wynn dressed up as Michael for no fucking reason. And then Wynn's like, "The game's not over, Loomis." And then he like grabs Loomis's hand, and the thorn tattoo shows up on Loomis's wrist, and he starts screaming, which is the scream that you hear at the end of the theatrical cut, because now he's Michael's protector. And then after that, you get a shot of an alleyway where Michael's dressed as the Man in Black and he's escaping. And that's how it originally ended. And it's still bad. It's still not a good ending at all. Oh my fucking God. This fucking garbage ass movie. Oh. So any movie in the future, for future reference, by the way, any movie that has like a substantial difference between like a director's cut and a theatrical cut, I'm going to go through the pain of watching the movie multiple times. So I can talk about it, because I like talking about stupid shit like this for some reason. Oh my God. So anyway, I guess now's a good time as any to get to the kills. We already mentioned a few of them, but I wrote them down this time, Justin. I remembered to write them down along with my other watch notes. I'm so proud of myself.
I always remember the kills, aside from the legend Bucky.
Yeah, aside from Bucky, and then I think we missed people in the second and first one too. I don't care.
No, we didn't.
I don't remember. I feel like we did. I might just be paranoid. So the first kill happens when Michael kills that nurse.
Yep.
There's a nurse that helps Jamie escape from the ritual room or whatever, and Michael just like grabs her and like shoves her into a fucking spike on the wall.
Yep.
That's
By her head.
That's just hanging out there. And then as Jamie's running away, she finds this truck. She gets in it, and I guess the keys are in the ignition because the driver was like taking a piss or something. I don't know.
He was drinking something.
And then she's like trying to tell him to run away. And then Michael just comes and literally twists his head off. Again, a good practical effect.
Yeah.
It looked, I mean, it was kind of dark.
After that, we get
but, you know.
Jamie's death.
And then Jamie gets killed by a mulcher or something.
Well, first he just impales her on it, and then he like pushes her down even more because they try to, I guess, redo that scene from 5 where she like touches his face.
Yeah, because she like puts her arms out.
And then for some reason Michael does the same too.
And with Arms Wide Open by Creed starts playing.
And then he just pushes her.
And then Michael just pushes her
deeper
down.
in the mulcher and then turns it on.
And then he turns her on and lets her die.
Reminded me of like a Chainsaw Massacre death.
And then let me see what else. Who else? Oh yeah, Michael then kills Deborah Strode, named after the Deborah that helped Deborah Hill, who helped John Carpenter produce the first Halloween. And John's named after John Carpenter, obviously. Kills her with an axe. It's off screen. You just see blood spatter on a white sheet.
It looks like he swung it at her head, but when he gets the axe back out of her body, it's like in her torso.
Yeah. Yeah, because they find her body later. And then who else? Michael kills John by electrocuting him until his head explodes. He stabs him first, and then like pushes him up against like a breaker. And then just like electrocutes him, he foams at the mouth. I wrote that it feels like a Looney Tunes kill because it does. And then Michael kills the stupid shock jock bitch by gutting him, I think.
I think he just stabbed him really deep in the stomach.
Yeah, but you hear like a rip and a tear. you hear like a, and I'm just like, oh wow, okay. Michael kills Tim, who deserved to die because of a terrible butthead impression, by slitting his throat so he could never do it again. And then Beth, his girlfriend, who he got done banging in Kara's bed, I think it was Kara's bed, gets stabbed in slow motion by
Because
Michael.
Kara's watching it happen. She's like, "No, Beth, you
Yeah,
are not
she's-
important to the story at all." But no.
No. And then one thing we need to point out is Michael, at least in this one, poses bodies again.
Gets back to his roots.
So that's nice.
We get a head tilt too.
And
later.
we even get a head tilt. They bless us and they curse us way more than they bless us, but they still bless us. So then, what happens next? There's some random crazy lady in the sanitarium that
Michael just stabbed for no reason.
that Tommy finds, and she's like, "Oh, he's back. He's returned to us." And then
he's
she
angry.
holds her stomach. She's like, "And he's angry." And then she just fucking keels over.
Dead.
And she just dies. And then Michael slaughters, not just kills, he slaughters like 7 or 8 nurses in some like surgery room. I was checked out by this point. I don't even remember what was happening in the movie.
He just like walks up to the tray of medical tools they left out there, and there's some like big, thin machete looking thing, which is kind of stupid. They made him pick that up of all things. But he just goes into the room and just kills all the doctors, aside from one that manages to get out of the room, and he turns into the kill we've already mentioned. The dude who gets his face smashed up against a gate.
Yeah, poor George P. Wilbur getting his face T-1000.
They really just wanted to insult all the good actors in this movie.
They really did. And I also wrote that the sequence was super disorienting because it had like this dumb strobe effect that, for no fucking reason. Like, it was, oh my God, it was so,
to make it more chaotic.
it was so bad. And then George P. Wilbur gets his head pushed through a gate. Tommy beats the fuck out of Michael and he starts like bleeding green goop.
Well, no. First he puts those weird syringes into Michael.
He stabs him with the syringes.
Never
after Michael
explained
does
what
the
he
head
injected
tilt.
him with.
Mm-hmm. And then he beats the shit out of Michael after Michael tries to choke Kara, and then Danny's like, "No, Michael, don't." And then Michael goes up to Danny and tries to kill Danny, and then Tommy Doyle just starts beating the shit out of him with a pipe. And then I guess Loomis dies. I fucking guess he dies in the theatrical cut because you hear him scream and you see Michael's mask. So I'm gonna assume that that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's still stupid. So I have other general notes that I wrote. Outside of all that, I wrote that Paul Rudd delivers his lines like he's doing a really, really shitty Vincent Price impression, which is an old actor who did the monologue from Thriller. And it sounds like he's just doing a really bad impression of that. It is, and it sounds creepy. And
You just
Justin,
think Tommy's the villain the entire movie. By
Yeah.
the way he acts.
and he's like fascinated with Michael and shit. And he's like, I just wanted to find a method to Michael's madness. And it's like, he's just like real weird about everything. He's creeping on Kara when she's in her underwear. Like, my guy's on some Disturbia shit. My guy's on some Rear Window type shit, you know?
He's just standing at the window.
And she can see him. Like, he doesn't even make an effort to hide. He's just like, oh, whoops, got caught. Like, it's just like, oh my God. I wrote the music really sucks because I did not like the soundtrack.
It did.
And I wrote what is this fucking off-brand Man in the Box ass song? And this is a song that plays. I think it's a real song too. I don't think it was written for the movie.
I don't think it is. No words ever came out.
But
of it.
I thought I heard words, but I might have just been imagining things. But like, it's when they're like walking to school or something. Are they? Isn't
No,
like
they-
Kara like dropping her sister off at school or some shit?
It's Tim, Kara, and Beth going to college.
College, whatever. It's still school. I don't give a shit, and I don't give a shit about this movie.
Fuck school.
Yeah, fuck school. It does nothing for me. But it plays during that scene, and in the producer's cut, what played during that scene was John Carpenter's Halloween theme, which was weird, but I mean, it was better than this weird Man in the Box shit. I wrote, I hope Tim dies for that butthead impression alone. Thank God he did. Paul Rudd ain't great in this. This is also what I wrote. What's the point of these fucking flash cuts? And then there's a scene where Paul. I'm just gonna say Paul. I keep like wanting to call him
Tommy.
Paul and saying Tommy.
Tommy.
Tommy's like explaining this shit to Kara, and this is the scene where he almost like smells her hair, like that Justin was talking about, because he's explaining the runes and shit and all that. And I wrote, they're really trying to explain this dumb thorn shit. I hate it so much. Ooh, Michael's a fucking agent of some stupid ass druid rune. Fuck off. Like I was like typing this so angrily. And then I wrote, there's a part where Miss Blankenship says she retcons. Well, I guess she does a retcon, but she like explains that she was babysitting across the street from Michael
To never happen.
on the night that he killed his sister, and that Michael heard the same voice that Danny hears, and that it told Michael to kill his family. And I wrote a quote: Michael heard a voice that told him to kill his family, and then after that I just wrote "fuck you." The shock jock character, I didn't like him. I wrote that he should have been played by John Waters, because he has this scene where he like pretends to be the Man in Black, and he like flashes everybody, which reminds me of John Waters in Hairspray, where he plays like a street flasher. And John Waters just would have been much better in that role, because it already seemed like the guy was trying to be John Waters, because he had like a really thin mustache, not a pencil thin mustache, but still a really thin mustache, and he was acting like kind of like a creep, like, because John Waters is a creepy man. I love him, but he's a creepy man. And then he gets killed. And then after that, I wrote, why was he questioning Michael's existence? Because he's like skeptical of Michael the entire time. And I get that he's out of state, but like Michael's been killing people for more than 10 years at this point. I wrote this in all caps because I was real mad about it at the time. I'm still mad about it. How are you gonna like go into Haddonfield and then just be like, fucking Michael's not real? I told Justin while we were watching it, that's like being like, Ted Bundy's not real. What? Fucking no way. No way, he didn't kill anybody. Man, Charles Manson? Nah. No.
I think
like,
maybe they were just like going off the whole that everybody knew about him in the supernatural aspect. Maybe that's what he didn't believe or something, but it still comes off as stupid because
it's very stupid. I feel like they were just like, hey, we need to have a skeptic character in here somewhere. Why? Why do you need a skeptic character? Like what's the point? Woo! There's a lot of choices in this movie. I wrote the dialogue in this movie is so fucking bad. Oh my god. At least
really
Michael's
was.
posing bodies in this one is also what I wrote, because that's like one of the two things I liked about it. The part where Kara is banging on the door with Danny is a nice homage to the original, where Laurie's banging on the door to try to get in when Michael's walking past her. But it's ruined by Michael walking like he's got Staying Alive stuck in his head. Because he's got like this brisk little stroll where he's like throwing his arms out in front of him.
that's why I said strutting his stuff.
Strutting his stuff, baby. He's just having a good old time.
Oh, I'm gonna get her.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Oogity, swoogity, swoogity. I'm coming for that boogity. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking. Oh my god, that's terrible. I wrote the Man in Black twist, and everything that accompanies it is so goddamn stupid. This editing is awful. What a stupid ass ending. That's all my notes.
Stupid.
I also wrote Michael does a head tilt. That's cool, I guess. That's
When he sees Tommy.
yeah, when he sees Tommy right before he stabs him with the syringes or whatever, and Tommy's like almost like giddy with excitement that he's seeing Michael. Also in the scene where he's trying to break through Kara's door in the sanitarium. Yeah, I'm angry in the sanitarium. And like he sees Michael and he starts like going, like he's like smiling and shit as he's like hitting the door with a fucking fire extinguisher. And I'm like, my guy, you are not a good person.
Is this
like
your hero or your worst nightmare?
what is going on? Oh my god! So yeah, that's Halloween. Halloween the Curse. This movie's. I'm not even. That's Halloween. That's this fucking garbage ass movie. Justin, what are your final thoughts? What are your final thoughts on Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers?
Well, like I said, I like bad movies, but really, I like this movie for it being just gory. That's it, really. Aside from that, I hate that it's a Halloween movie because Halloween's one of my favorite franchises.
One of our favorite franchises in general. Yeah.
And
Oh my god.
everything just falls flat in this movie. You from the start to the end, you're confused the entire time. It makes no sense. You're not invested in any of the characters because you don't give a shit. Like, ugh, I couldn't even get invested in Loomis, and I was just stuck watching Paul Rudd's performance and being like, "What the fuck is this dude on? Is he high?"
Honestly,
Like, I just started past a certain point. I was just watching it as a comedy movie because I felt like I was watching like a scary movie or something.
honestly, I think that's the only way you could watch this movie. I was telling Justin like that this movie feels almost as 90s as Scream, but Scream was like tongue in cheek. This movie is taking itself 100% seriously, and it's just not good.
I couldn't take it seriously.
So yeah, the Loomis thing, like Donald Pleasance is still giving it, but like they cut so much of him from the movie that like
you just don't care.
You miss a lot of the character moments for him. And yeah, this movie just feels like it feels rushed. It feels like pieced together and rushed. I don't want to say it feels unfinished, but it definitely feels pieced together and rushed. And yeah, it's just not good. Like I don't think there's the only redeeming thing about it is that Michael's kind of similar to how he was in the first one, and that the gore effects are really good, but that's it.
Yeah,
that is all this movie has. The music's bad, the editing's bad. The fucking dialogue is bad. Every fucking actor in this movie is bad.
Everybody's whispering the entire movie too.
And then you got the fucking guy from what is it? Fucking Lethal Weapon or Naked Gun or whatever as this intimidating Dr. Wynn. Which fun fact, they would try to get Christopher Lee for it, but Christopher Lee very appropriately said no. And what's funny too is that Christopher Lee, I forgot to mention this in the first episode, Christopher Lee was originally who John Carpenter wanted to be Dr. Loomis. But Christopher Lee turned it down, I think because it wasn't going to pay enough, I think is what it was. But ever since, Christopher Lee in interviews was saying like, yeah, I should have taken it. He's like, that would have been a fun role to play. He's like that, but I just regret it. But honestly, I can't really see anybody except Donald Pleasance in the role. And it's a shame that this is the last time we see him. It really is a fucking shame that this is the last time we see him, at least as played by Donald Pleasance.
Yep.
Real goddamn shame. But yeah, this movie's bad. I have nothing redeeming outside of those two little things.
It's funny. That's it.
Honestly, if you watch it like a comedy, yeah, I can see how it's enjoyable in that regard. It's a good I watch really bad movies with some of my friends sometimes. It's a good movie for that. Just a really shitty fucking movie to get drunk or high and watch and just laugh at it.
We do not condone drug use.
Yeah, we don't do that. But use responsibly, right? But if they live in Colorado,
Use where legal. There.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, it's a good movie to just like, I don't know, hang out with your friends and laugh at, because Paul Rudd is really just something else in this movie. He his performance, he's wide-eyed the entire time. Oh my god. Fucking hell. This movie is, I'm glad I never have to watch it again. I am so glad
I will watch it again.
that I never have to watch this again.
If we get popular enough, we'll do a live watch party.
Honestly, that'd be pretty fun. Just us shitting on it the whole time while we're watching it. That would be pretty fun, yeah. That's like a dream of mine, is if this gets popular enough to like do that in different like places in different cities. Just do a little watch party of the worst movies that we've covered. Which, believe me, there's probably going to be worse than this. But,
don't worry, I have things in store for you.
But I have such sights to show you.
Say that, motherfucker.
You should have led with that, Justin. But no, yeah, this is a really bad movie. I'm glad that is this the worst Halloween movie? I think Resurrection is bad,
No.
but like, is it this bad?
No,
Yeah, Resurrection's
no
worse.
opinion spoilers later, but I actually like Resurrection better than this.
Oh my god. Oh.
Like, I'll watch Resurrection over this one.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so understandably, the series just kind of like, it didn't die off at this point, but it definitely took a little bit of a break, because it wasn't
A little.
There's 3 years before the next one. H2O, Halloween.
H2 Blow.
20 years later. That's what we're covering next week.
Where they try to retcon everything.
They really do. Yep, and I can't wait to watch that one again because I haven't seen it since I was a kid. The only thing I remember is Joseph Gordon-Levitt with the hockey shoe in his face. What do you call it? A skate.
A skate?
Yeah, a skate.
A hockey shoe?
A hockey shoe. The fucking hockey shoe in his face. With a hockey shoe in his face. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember. So that's going to be next week. Thanks for listening. Oh, and guess what? We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Google. We're
Amazon
on
Music.
Stitcher. We're on Amazon Music. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere, baby. We got it all up. We got after 5 episodes, we're published. Woo! It feels good. Feels good. So, just subscribe to us anywhere you want. Give us a listen. Share it with your friends. Thanks for listening. All that fun stuff. We're the Gore Goblins. We give you gore, we give you gob, as Justin said so prolifically last week. I'm keeping that. I like that.
That's
I know
great.
I'm going to keep that. We give you gore, we give you gob. Alrighty. Well, until next time, everybody, you just watch some horror movies. Cuddle up with your cat or your dog, watch some horror movies, and all that fun stuff. So,
Later.
until next time.